Hey, we are live. Welcome to
Whoa.
100th episode. What, you spill a drink or something there?
No, I'm just saying, whoa.
Yeah,
Episode
100th,
100.
100th episode. Get fired up.
Get fired up. We
Uh,
can look back and tell our kids that we wasted at least 150 hours of podcast
look, look
of
at
our
all the
lives.
bandwidth we used up, though. How good's this? But yeah, so Aussies taking over the NBA, episode number 100. Brand new layout. It's looking pretty schmick. We're going to use this going forward. But today we're going to bring you Ben Simmons and Philadelphia 76ers back to where it all began, where it all
Hold on a
started.
minute. We missed the good old Jonah Bolden in there.
Oh, and Jonah Bolter, but he wasn't on the team last year, so,
Yes, he
I'm going
was.
back to where it all began.
Oh, we're going to the process, the begin. Oh,
Yeah,
yes, we did. We started with Ben Simmons, didn't we?
pretty
Jeez.
much. This was the big reason why we started this podcast was to talk about Ben Simmons, basically, and ride the wave of Ben Simmons.
Ride the wave, and what a wave it's become. Year four in terms of contract, year three in the league. Um, big big shoes to fill this year. How do you feel looking at this Philly team as not a fan but an outsider? What are your thoughts on what they've kind of done in the off season? Obviously, just blowing up the ship again and just getting a whole bunch of new talent in, doing some pretty last minute trades. Jimmy Butler leaving. What does this new outfit look like for someone who's not a fan?
It looks pretty good, man. It looks well balanced. I think they've upgraded at certain positions. Getting kind of gimmicky players like like Boban off the team. Like, to me, and sort of dead weight like Amir Johnson. Like they've flipped those players into some actual guys who will be useful in this team, which I'm impressed with. Al Horford's a big sort of coup for them. He's kind of an underrated glue veteran guy that's not going to rock the boat. He's obviously going to come in and just play, with this group. Like, it's not like a Jimmy Butler was too volatile of a star to bring into this team. Like, it was good in theory, but the attitude just didn't gel. But to like from where Philly, like where we started this podcast back last year or the year before, basically the year before last season, their team is just completely different, and I think it's way better now than it was back
Oh
then.
yeah, they've gone all in. They've realized the process. Obviously, keeping Ben Simmons and Embiid throughout that process and developing them, and now they've just added a full roster of a complementary roster to that team. One of the biggest teams in NBA history. Their shortest player is Josh Richardson, starting five, which is 6'6". Man, you've got a 6'10" point guard, 6'7" small forward, 6'8" power forward, and a 7-foot center. In a league that's going small and fast and is trying to emulate the Warriors and what they did,
Mm.
is the big lineup going to be effective in this NBA?
I think you know my thoughts on this. I've often said, like, I feel like we're on the downward wave away from that sort of like neutral positions type basketball, and I feel like Philly's got a blend of both at the moment. They've got the outlier, which is Simmons, basically, who is as good as any point guard in the league, really, on paper and in general. He's good at playmaking. You can't shoot the ball, but that doesn't matter. Like, so it's not necessarily that they've constructed this team in a way where they've just got size at every position. It's just kind of the outlier Simmons, that he's a 6'11" point guard or 6'10" or however tall he is point guard, which is going to work perfectly for them because he'll be able to run pick and roll with Horford, and Horford can shoot the three, Embiid can shoot the three. Harris is another guy who can handle the ball, and another year of growth from him. He's got better every year, and then they've just surrounded by shooters again like Josh Richardson, Mike Scott. Looking down the roster, they've upgraded sort of Amir Johnson to Kylo Quinn. They got Raul Neto. I don't know what Trey Burke's doing on this roster, but that's fair enough. Like, Furkan Korkmaz, he can also shoot the ball as well. So I think it's going to be super exciting, man. And again, it's another year of there's something to look forward to on this team. It's like, I want to see how this works with this and this. Where last year when they made that big blockbuster trade, you just kind of went, man, like, I didn't want to see him go in that direction, so you had to like scope out what they were going to do. Like, let's see how this works. Then with Jimmy Butler, they're going to slot him in here. Like, I feel like all the additions they made this season, we're all sitting here going, yes, they're good additions. Like, this is good. I want to see how
Yes.
this goes now. Because the Jimmy Butler experiment just didn't work at all to me. Anyway,
It didn't. I mean, it was one shot away from not working,
that's true. True.
realistically. So it was one shot away from not working with an unhealthy Embiid in that series against the Raptors. It wasn't going to work long term. It was kind of like that, if they'd won last year, Jimmy would have been gone anyway. He would have picked up his ring. He would have gone and gone to Miami. I think that was always going to happen in his mind, and they'd still be in that position where they are now with a strong team, a ring, and defending. However, it's not
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they're
yeah.
more
They
hungry.
would have had to have beat the Warriors in the final.
Yeah, well, we all knew how that fucking ended, didn't we?
Yeah, fuck that.
Um, yeah, unluckily, unfortunately, but not to be. I think that they've still got a lot of rookie talent, like a lot of rookie talent that people don't see.
Hmm.
Shake Milton, Matisse Tybalt, who I think is he's the Landry Shamet of this draft pick.
Yeah.
What Shamet went about 22 last year, went quite deep in the first round, and then he's starting for the Clippers and playing first rotation for the Clippers. Big part of last year in the Philly in the early part of last year. It was kind of the downside of the trade was Shamet because he was just a Redick clone.
Mm.
Um,
And the one before
but
that being Covington. Like, if Covington was in this team, man, it would be awesome.
it is his scoring is kind of his defense is just crazy, but his scoring is he's had that long knee injury. He's coming back. I still follow what he does at the Timberwolves from time to time,
He
and
just doesn't look
it's
like the
nothing.
same player, but
Well, it's just kind of like Redick going to the Pelicans. Redick's not going to do anything this year.
eh,
They're not. No, I don't think he will. I think he'll average single digits, and the
yeah,
reason I think his whole game is a two-man game with Embiid because Embiid can set a double screen. He can screen two guys and get JJ Redick open on the shot, or he trails Ben Simmons. Two guys collapse on Ben Simmons. He's open for the three. You're not going to do that against. There's no one at the Pelicans that can do that. Lonzo is a good defensive point guard, but not really there. And it's just going to be the Zion Williamson show. Really, let's be honest. It's going to be Zion with the ball 60% of the time.
yeah, and
That's
that's what everyone wants to see anyway. You know what I mean?
That's yeah, but it's just like he got offered a 2-year 15 to stay in Philly, and he took the 2-year 20
I
at
would, yeah, no, that's fair enough too. I think for him,
would you
for him to take that, I think, because if he could get more money, there wasn't much point in hamstringing this Philly team more. If you get what I mean, like I feel like they turned, what do they turn him into? Really, it's kind of
he
Josh
was averaging
Richardson.
yeah Josh Richardson's I mean defensively going
I
to be
think
much better,
he's gonna be a more important player. I think for his
but who
defense. Anyway,
who can dial up a bucket? That's what we need to know in this team. That's what I think the question is still is that you don't want to go down to Embiid down the stretch. Simmons down the stretch is not there. Simmons kind of goes missing in the fourth quarter in most big games. Um, is it Richardson? Is it Harris? Harris, I don't think is
Harris.
there yet. But you can dial up a play for Redick. You can dial up a play for Redick any day of the week. You know what I mean? So kind of need that glue guy. Matisse Tybalt. Zaire Smith, who was a pretty early first round pick 2 years ago. I think he was 8th or 9th. Very early, a lot of hype on him. He got sick. He got some
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
auto.
Didn't he? He broke his foot and then he ate some. What did he eat? Like nuts or something that he was allergic to, or soy or something.
Yeah,
Like that?
just something, and it just knocked him
Yeah, fucked him
pretty
up.
much out of the season. So he came back last year, or I think he was drafted last year. Came back towards the end. Starting to look good. Play a bit for the Blue Coats this year. So there's some really good depth. And let's not forget Jonah Bolden, who's going to be a really good rotation player, could defend well, can shoot the ball, has learned to put the ball on the floor pretty well. We saw a lot of that in the Aussie team, the limited games that he did play, some of the preseason games for Philly this year. So that's it's a good depth roster. That the only thing I'm thinking of is in close games is who do they give it to? Who do they dial the shot up for to round things out?
So it's gonna have to basically be either Harris, Embiid, or maybe the emergence of Big Ben Simmons.
He hit his first 3-point shot the other
Yeah,
day,
how good was
and it was
that?
clean as anything, and it was from miles downtown.
It
It
was
was against a crappy Chinese team, but who cares?
it was like from the nail as well, and it was so pure, man. It went through. It was a good moment for him. He's looking pretty good, man. His jump shot's looking heaps good, to be honest. And again, we've always said on this podcast since the start, it's not just about scoring buckets. It's about having players respect him as a jump shooter. We'll just open up the floor for him to, pass out of pump fakes, pass out of shots, basically. As long as he's got opposition respecting his game, that's going to take him to the next level, I think.
It does, and it opens up a lot more. It opens up a lot more driving lanes for Harris and Richardson, but it also opens up less of a two-man game on Embiid. So Embiid can play down in that block a lot more, and it's not clogged because Jimmy Butler wanted to play there, Ben Simmons wants to play there, Embiid wants to play there. So I think that this will open up the low block a lot more for Embiid to play that kind of big man banging down low game, and he's probably the best in the NBA when it comes to that. I think, obviously they're going to minutes restrict him this year. They're going to take the load, so he won't play any back to backs. I don't think, unless it's kind of crucial. If it's a crucial back to back on minutes restrictions, they're really, I think, taking the Kawhi Leonard approach with him.
I think it's the best way
Play
to
as
do it,
much as
though.
he needs to. We know Philly's going to be a 50-win team at least. You're going to be there come the end of season. Probably will have home court advantage for most of the time. Why play him 82
Yeah,
games?
yeah, definitely. I think it's going to become more in vogue this season with guys sitting out games. I think there's a lot of sort of fan backlash and fan anger, and it's justified. Like, to me, it's justified. Like, yeah, okay, I'd be upset if for one game in a season I went over there to watch and it was a game where Ben Simmons and Embiid sat out. I'd be like, fuck, man, that sucks. But at the same time, I think the league in general really needs to start accepting that these players have to sit games during the season. They can't just play
Yeah.
82 games. Or the best players, it doesn't help them to play 82 games and then just be like, all right, dogfight in the finals then. Sure.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
just
Like,
who's more tired?
basically. And I
Who,
think
who's
it
yeah,
harms the product, really.
it does. And we kind of saw that, obviously with Clay getting injured, Durant getting injured, just Ibaka and Gasol just looking like puffed monkeys. It was just it was kind of the end of it was they were just it was nothing.
Yeah, they
That
kind of
that
just,
series,
both teams were just kind of falling over the line, really, at the end there.
yeah, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, one has Kawhi, one has a whole bunch of injuries, and Steph can't do everything. And he looked pretty tired as well. Game 5 and 6, it's just like, oh, and that's not the product you want at the end of the day. We've had really 2 years of a really poor final series, a
Yeah,
poor
yeah.
product final series in terms of basketball. I mean, great for the Raptors to win it,
Yeah, yeah,
but
for
we
sure.
need to have a better product at the end of the series because that's what it all comes down to. No one wants to go and see Embiid take a flight to Phoenix and verse some minnows for shits and giggles. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
take
yeah.
the B team, smash him, come back. You don't need to do that. I think that, why would Embiid play any game against Cleveland? It's
Yeah,
just not
true, true.
necessary. It's
Or
just
yeah, yeah, for sure. Or like Charlotte or something like that. There's no point
yeah.
playing against Charlotte.
There's no point. You can stick Horford or you can stick Kylo Quinn or Jonah Bolden at the 5, give Embiid a rest, rotate your players that way. It's You've got enough depth in this team, I think, to really make use of. No one plays more than 70 games this year, and then from that, you know, 32 minutes a game max. If you want to win a ring, that's
Yeah,
my.
yeah, for sure.
If you want to win the ring at the end of the season, if you're struggling to get to the finals, then yeah, you need all your players. This was Blake Griffin for the Pistons last year, just playing on one leg because that's what they need. But I don't think with a team that's gunning for a ring that you really want to be playing most of your stars any more than 70 games and any more than 30 minutes a night.
They all the players always want to play no matter what, though. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I think Kawhi doesn't.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
be honest. He's the one who kind of started like, no, I'm not playing back to backs. It's just not happening this year.
I wonder if
And
he
look at it.
will do it this year, but
No, he's not playing back to backs ever again.
really?
He doesn't care. He's not a legacy guy. He's not like, oh, I need to score 30 points a night to get my name on a board.
Mm.
He's just a guy that, yeah, I just want to win rings. That's cool. I'll just play 64 games and, you know, just get to the finals.
That's pretty
Although
crazy, to be honest.
I don't, I don't think this Clippers team is any good. And now that Anthony Davis is out for 4 to 6 weeks,
Oh, really?
uh, yeah, he broke his thumb.
Oh, man. That's
The Lakers curse
crazy.
continues.
Oh, that sucks, man. Because they were looking pretty deadly, man. They've got a decent looking roster. Like, it's not, this team's got to take the league by storm. It's kind of like, all right, I want to see what this team can do. I think they're going to be good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't locked in great, but they had a pretty, like, low-key, scary looking roster with, JaVale backing up Anthony Davis, LeBron playing point forward, all of the best sort of talent left over from the guys that left. Kuzma? Yeah, it was Kuzma who stayed, wasn't it?
Kuzma. KCP is still there.
Damn.
Why would you
injuries,
play
man.
Anthony Davis 26 minutes in a friggin' warm-up game? Why?
Yeah, true. Is that how, how
Like,
do you get injured just to...
just thumb injury 17 minutes into it, into I think 22 minutes into his. Why Embiid played 12 minutes against Charlotte? Yep, just get on the floor, have a bit of run with the team, don't go too hard. Anthony Davis is there just putting up alley oops and shit. It's like, why? This is preseason. It means nothing.
Yeah, true. It's just a bit of fitness, and a bit of cohesion.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that's brutal, eh?
So
brutal.
he's that gives us back to the plays. Is Anthony Davis going to play 82 games? I hope not for the final sake. You want a good product, and at the end of the day, this is why you have the G League teams. You can pull, and you've got two-way contracts. You can pull guys up from the G League 45 days to get these guys into the team, so you've got depth at these roster levels. And I think Philly's depth goes all the way down to the end. And look at the preseason, like just absolutely smashing teams with not even their five in the second half. I think they just they hammered Charlotte, they hammered Orlando with no one. Like I think Ben Simmons played like 20 minutes a night. Embiid played 13 minutes.
That's crazy. I think it's something the league's got to look at. Like there's no one's gonna be satisfied with a result out of this discussion. You know what I mean? Like somebody's gonna get burned, whether it's the fans, the players, the product. They have to make a decision where they start mainstreaming just guys, like let's not play all 82 games and be really crazy, or the scheduling, or maybe they scale the games back. Like they got to do something, man, because we don't want everyone tired at the end of this season. I was just looking at the Philly roster from 2017-18 when we first started, basically the back end of that season. Redick, Covington, Amir Johnson, Bayless, Fultz, Simmons, Embiid, Darius Saric, Justin Anderson, Rashawn Holmes, TJ, Furkan Korkmaz, TLC, Bellinelli, Ilyasova. How does that compare to the current roster, do you reckon?
Look, that wasn't a bad roster. This is 2017. This isn't last year. This is 2017.
This is the year,
yeah.
like the year we started, basically the back end of that season, yeah.
So they signed Ilyasova and Bellinelli towards the end of the season.
Yeah, Bellinelli was on 490,000, and then Ilyasova was on 357,000.
Yeah, because they were on buyout periods, so it was just for the finals.
Bargain,
yeah,
man. Anyway, yeah. So how does that compare, do you reckon, to this season?
Oh, much better. I mean, Ilyasova's great player. Don't get me wrong. Bellinelli's probably way past his day.
Yeah.
Look, it's a shame TJ couldn't stay, because TJ is kind of the heart and soul of the team. Obviously he wanted to get paid. He's at Indiana. I think he's on a 2-year, $10 million, with Darren Collison retiring out of the blue for no apparent reason. So that's good for him. I think he wanted to get paid. But that's a pretty good story. He was the kind of the glue guy in the team. It kind of feels like the team now has just is kind of soulless. The glue guys are all gone. Except Jared Bayless. Jared Bayless can go to hell.
Yeah, Jared Bayless. Remember them booing him, man? That was hilarious. That was
just
great.
Like, you take it, 8 of our salary cap, give it back.
Even TLC and Rashawn Holmes and Justin Anderson are kind of upgraded now. Like if you go back to sort of last year's team with the crazy trades that they made, it's Embiid, Butler, Harris, Redick, Marjanovic, Simmons, Jonathan Simmons, Mike Scott, Zaire Smith, Korkmaz, Bolden, Ennis, McConnell, Amir Johnson, Greg Munro. Obviously, Greg Munro doesn't mean anything, but you look at that team, right, it was a nice stepping stone. You know, had some rough around the edges players like Boban and Jonathan Simmons kind of didn't really do anything. But I feel like now they've kind of rounded out this team better with Josh Richardson, Ennis is on a long-term deal, and then Carlo Quinn and Neto and Korkmaz again. Like, it feels way better, man. It feels way more round.
It's a much bigger, better team. And it's a set in stone team as well. A lot of these guys are on long deals now.
Yeah, with Ben Simmons is up for the rookie max extension next season.
What do you mean? It's already signed.
Has he already signed it?
Yeah.
When does it come into effect?
Next season.
Yeah, so he signed it for next season. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. It's so already done. It's like Draymond. Yeah.
Upcoming contract extension 2021, 29 million per season, but 33 average salary over the 5 years.
Dude, everyone's going to be crazy sketchy now because out of this NBA China debacle, bloody old matey over at Houston, they reckon the salary cap's going to drop by 21%.
Well, it's a lot of money, man.
It is $4 billion pulled out of the television rights to broadcast in China.
Have they definitely pulled it?
Yeah, they pulled it.
Oh, shivs. Jeez.
Just
thanks, Daryl Morey. Nice little salary cap earner for him. Just be like, yeah, have that. Hamstring the entire league. Suck on that.
It's not. It doesn't so much hamstring the entire league. It just makes everyone pay luxury tax because they're all locked in. They're on the contract, so everyone's just like, yep, the salary cap goes down. Everyone pays luxury tax, so it'll cost teams another 12-15 million just to keep paying the same players.
So sneaky, shrewd move from Daryl Morey to just be like, fuck every team here by fucking any insight, any fucking moves they can do, man. The Rockets, these fucking scummy Rockets, mate.
Mate, they are the scum of the tournament. Bloody James Harden, he's one-legged.
Says two blokes, 100 episodes into a podcast on the other side of the world.
That's it, mate. That's the way it goes.
We are fans here on Aussies taking over the NBA. So where to this season for Ben Simmons personally for him?
I think he's got to be able to stretch the floor a bit more, draw that defender out, make that defender earn his keep and open. I don't think his points percent will go up. I don't think he'll shoot that many threes. It's just all about the respect if he can do it. And the games that they don't give him respect, let it fly. Earn that respect. Get the guys up there. First game of the season's against Boston in Boston, and that's going to be a tough one. You know what they're like. Marcus Smart likes to sit way off him. So it'll be good to see. Also, Taco Fall has just been converted into a 2-way contract, so he's staying around the league, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, you're real high on Taco Fall, eh?
Man, I love Taco Fall. He's crazy. The statistic: only 29 humans alive are taller than him.
Jeez, that's pretty crazy. And what's the world up to? 13 billion now?
Yeah. No. Is it?
Is it 11 billion? I don't know.
Something like that. Oh, yeah, 29 humans are taller than Taco Fall.
In the world today. Google. Remember the podcast where the guys... 7.53 billion.
Still.
It's a lot of people.
Only
12 guys taller than you and 7.3 billion. That's crazy.
If you're 7 foot in America, you have a 17% chance of playing in the NBA.
Yeah, unless you're just a total spaz and you can't you could be like Dane Pinot and have the stoniest hands ever and still.
He's not 7 foot though.
Yeah, but he's close to.
Pledge is 7'2".
Yeah, but he showed some touch the other night. We're pulling out our NBL chops. He showed some touch for Melbourne the other night. So Simmons this season, we want to see him shooting. How many jumpers do you reckon? 4 or 5.
2 to 3 a game. 2 to 3 dedicated jumpers a game.
4 to 5.
1 or 2.
4 or 5.
Right. Is that including threes? I was going from the 2 and the 3.
No, not including threes.
Oh, okay.
So maybe 1 or 2 threes this season.
I don't think the team is necessarily relevant to that point because you've got Josh Richardson, you've got Al Horford, you've got Tobias Harris, you've got Embiid. Why does he need to shoot the ball? He doesn't need to shoot the ball.
I was actually thinking about that the other night. And it's within the offense too for him not to shoot the ball. I was thinking about it taking bad shots And then the flow-on effect of taking bad shots is you stop shooting. So why not take bad shots and just don't take any shots? You know what I mean? And then your offense flows from there. And then whenever from the outside we as fans look at it, for him, he's doing the right thing in the offense by just saying that, this is not a good shot. 18 feet, me with a jump shot opportunity, that's not a good shot. So I want to find someone get a better shot. Like, I feel like the backlash comes from the wrong place. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think the backlash comes from the wrong team as well. I think we're playing 3 years ago where Ben Simmons would have had to have done everything with Joel Embiid. Doesn't have to do that anymore. Even with other players on the floor, he's got much better shooters. Why do you need to take shots yourself? He's 23 this year. In 4 or 5 years, when he may no longer be at Philly, or Embiid may not be at Philly, or it may be a different team. It may have, it may be the Warriors on a down. You know what I'm saying? Then it might be like, all right, it's 30 points a night, 35 points a night from Simmons. But in this team for the next 2 years, he doesn't need to put up 35 a night. He needs to put up 12, 13 assists a night, but not 35 points.
And I think I still think the 3-point shot is still a form of, I don't want to take him because it's not a good shot, and if I'm missing him, then you know what I mean? Like, there's a flow-on effect from him missing. Like, if he just started just taking shots, eventually 3 months in, he was taking 3 or 4 a game. Everyone would just stop caring. They'd just be like, oh yeah, he shoots now, sweet. Like, he might only shoot like 30%, but he just shoots them now. And I feel like over the last 2 years, it's been a prolonged sort of form of, I just don't want to shoot him because it's not a good shot. Whereas I think if he just starts to take him, everyone will just be like, oh, he's been shooting them for 2 months now and he's 30%. Yeah, whatever. Like, I think the abnormality grew because he just wasn't taking any, and it just suddenly became just take some, take some. You're gonna take some. Now, if you just shoot some, 3 months in, everyone's gonna just be like, oh yeah, once upon a time he didn't even take any, but they're gonna just forget about it. Yeah. So I want to see him take 3 this season. I remember the first season we did the podcast and the season preview, and we're like, just take 3 shots, man, 3-pointers every night. And here
trash talk.
Here we
just
are
the
again.
Trash minutes. Yeah, I know.
Here we are again a year later, hoping that he takes 3 a game.
Hoping so. It's funny because I don't think that'll happen. I think that he might take 1 or 2 every couple of games. I think there's no reason to take a shot every night. Maybe he can be a down the stretch kind of shooter. Who knows? It seems like the further away he gets from the basket, the better shot he is as well. Maybe it's like the Damian Lillard effect. Shoots like 45% from 40 feet. But just on a guy that can't shoot, supposedly, man, I watched Giannis take on Dallas, 34 points in 26 minutes of just destroying Dallas.
Yeah.
And he's been working with Kobe, and oh my God, this guy has gotten better.
Yeah, for sure, man. And he has the mentality to do that, though, Giannis.
Like, yeah.
It's just in his DNA to just be like, I'm at the gym in the off season. He's got the DNA, obviously, to do that because he's an absolute freak of a human being. But for Giannis, I still think that there's a ceiling to his jumper, man, because his mechanics aren't great. Like, they still don't look great. He's very straight, pops it with the wrist a little bit. I feel like Ben Simmons' mechanics aren't that bad. You know what I mean? Like, he shoots with a nice, like, he's got nice wrist form. It feels a little bit like he's putting on the wrist form. Like, you know how some people shoot and they like have to like try and make themselves, instead of just shooting naturally, they kind of make themselves look like they're shooting properly. Still feels a little bit like that, but with Giannis, man, Giannis kind of his arms are still a bit all over the place. So, but
last season it was a lot of elbow extension in the shot, not a lot of wrist extension or wrist flexion. I saw him in the Dallas trial game, mate, just walking up to the nail and just hitting it, and it was all wrist. So he's obviously been, and a lot of fade, mid-range fade. Just in 24 minutes, just destroyed Dallas, even with Doncic getting on an absolute roll. I thought that the Bucks may have weakened this year, but that's taking into account that Giannis has hit his ceiling, and I don't think he's hit his ceiling yet.
No, I think he's got more room to grow, man. Even
That's scary.
because we started, we had Delhi and Thorn on that team, like when we started, and even we at the end of that season were like, man, Giannis looks tired. He looks, he can't get anything going. Everything he's trying to do, he just looks like he's using up so much energy to do things. This last MVP season, he's gotten way better at maximizing his game. Like, I think that's where he improved last season. He was able to maximize the impact of his game. Ran up against Kawhi in that, and then that's a once in a lifetime series where maybe Giannis in 3 years wins that series and just, yep, thanks, we're going to win the finals now. But he's not there yet. Like, he's got another season now where he gets to was that the conference finals they lost in? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Conference final.
And then he's got to now go through the fire. And I feel like he's ready. Anyway, why did this become the Giannis podcast?
It didn't. It's just the shooting mechanics of Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
I see Giannis as kind of the 2 years ahead of Ben in terms of how to run the game, and obviously MVP last season. In 2 years' time, I think that's where Ben's game will be. Is Giannis's game right now, because Giannis is the ultimate point forward freak.
Yep.
So that's really what Ben needs to emulate his game on. It's an MVP winning, it's MVP winning game. He's probably a better floor general and court visionary, but he's the same size as Giannis, same dimensions. Maybe Giannis is probably a little bit longer in the arms, but Giannis is 6'11", Ben's 6'10". It's not that much difference. You should be able to literally get to the bucket in about 2 strides.
He doesn't have the hops off 1 foot that Giannis has.
No.
Giannis off of 1 foot is just insane, man. The amount of power he gets off of 1 foot, it's crazy.
Now let's take it to Jonah Bolden in this team. What are your thoughts on Jonah this season?
Kind of forgotten man a little bit now.
He's kind of moved down the pecking order, I think, in that team in terms of where he'll fit into the rotation. He'll probably be deep bench, backup when Embiid's not on the floor. I think he's kind of that third center, potentially playing a bit of 4 when it's needed. I think Kyle O'Quinn, they're going with that veteran to take those games out where Embiid won't play. But he's still going to play a massive role because Embiid won't play 16 or 20 games this year if he's healthy. So, he's going to be going in at least a quarter of the games, playing 20-odd minutes or so. But what do you see is what is his next game level in this NBA?
Well, defensively, I think he needs to have an impact role on the team defensively. Like, I feel like last year they used him and there was a scope to have him in the rotation as well, like on and off the court, like to start and to come off the bench. Like, there was scope in his rotation. Now I feel like the team itself has kind of outpaced him and he's now got to find his role back in the team. Like, he's now sort of on the periphery fighting for a place on that team, which for his game where it's at, I think his game's still pretty raw in general, but he's got to show now development, which I don't think last year he didn't really need to show anything. Like, he kind of was popping up in the starting lineup here and there, getting minutes here and there, showing up, shooting threes, playing some pretty good defense. Like, it never felt like he had a nailed down spot in that team last season, whereas like, okay, you're the guy who comes here and you do this and this and this. You're guaranteed 16 minutes and you're doing this in those 16 minutes. Like, it kind of felt like he was doing a bunch of different things. So I'd like to see him establish himself as an individual. And I think his defense probably needs to get better. It's the part of his game where I think he's going to have an impact on this team. If he's going to be on the floor as kind of, a long, strong guy who can shoot the 3-ball and sort of play inside and out, that's going to be the most important aspect that he's got to work on this season, because he's got the shot. He's got decent handles. He's not too bad around the rim as well. He showed he can do that in the G League. He's just got to take that to the next level at the NBA. But I still feel like the door's kind of closing on him a little bit to fit into this team now. Like, the team's just gotten a little bit better. It's going in a little bit of a different direction.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that if you look at this team realistically, he's kind of that third center position, and it's closing pretty quickly. But if he can learn to put the ball on the floor, that's my big thing this year. I want to see him put the ball on the floor instead of just stretching out to the 3-point line and shooting. Being able to put the ball on the floor and potentially look inside for a dish or just get around a defender. He did show some promise in the Australia series with some passing ability and floor management. But I'd like to see he take it to the next level when he gets the time on the court to do that. I mean, he's on a long contract, 4 years, so he's still got another 3 years, including this one, in his contract. I think it's 4 years, 4.6 mil.
Just googling it now. 4 years, 7 million all up. So he's in the second year of his deal.
Yeah, so tons of time. I think he's a development player. I think he could definitely be that backup 5 or backup 4. Obviously, you've got Mike Scott. You're fighting with Mike Scott in that position, but he's just a good a shot and probably gives you a bit more length in defense than Mike Scott. So that's where I'd like to see his game at this year for Philly.
And it feels almost like he's kind of getting left behind a little bit, eh? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I want to say great things about him, but this season's like a real crossroads season. Like, it's his second season. I think he was rookie last year. This year's his second season. Like, he's got to see like some significant growth, making sure like he shows himself as a spot on this team. Like, shows himself for a spot on this team. Like, I think. Yeah,
but I think honestly that he could be bench rotation in any other team in the league that's not playing for a ring. He goes to I don't know, Miami. Yeah. He's bench rotation. He goes to Phoenix. He's bench rotation. Like, he's good enough. He's a good enough player. But in this Philly team that's so stacked, what do you do?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those seasons where I think they love him too. Like, in general, like Brett Brown likes him too. So it's not like he's
that Aussie connection.
Well, yeah, that. But it's not like he's in a position where, man, you could be out the door here. You don't really get along with the coach and the franchise. Like, I feel like they like him as a player, and Brett Brown likes him. So he's going to see out those years. I don't see them just being like, you know what we need to do? We need to trade Jonah Bolden for someone else. Like,
yeah,
I think they're investing in him. It's kind of like Dante Exum as well, the same. Like, I don't feel like they're going to go, Dante Exum, we're getting rid of you. Thanks. Like, it feels like he's got some loyalty there with Ben Simmons as well. So I want to see him have a big season, man. Like, it's going to be good to watch him, because he was really good for the Boomers, and it's a shame he kind of didn't play in the tournament in the end. But
definitely needed him as that kind of piece to take the load off everyone else, because he would have played some serious minutes and done really well. Just a shame.
Yeah. So
now,
important
predictions.
Stuff. Predictions. So what's your win prediction total for Philly?
54.
54.
Yeah.
54. So that's an under, because they were at 54.5 on when I looked at it last. I haven't updated it with like current odds or anything. I think pretty much when the Vegas odds came out, I think that's what they were sitting at, with the Bucks at 57.5 wins, Philly at 54.5. I went with 55, so the over for me. So be interesting. I think they're gonna have a big season, man. It's gonna be like I'm not gonna jinx it. I'm not gonna call it the Utah of last year. With my Utah 60 wins, man. They're gonna be the
60 wins,
the big ticket. So foolish, but they could have been, man. They could have.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
So, anything else we need to talk about Philly wise?
That's it, man. It's 100 episodes down.
Yeah,
on to the next 100.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get on to 1,000. Crack 1,000. What's that?
Crack 1,000.
10 seasons.
Could be, if not more. Jesus. We'll be back next time with a broke off Dallas, talking about the unicorn that is Porzingis and Doncic and what that means for this season.
He's looking pretty clean, the unicorn.
He is, but obviously the Greek freak just
monstered him, just absolutely monstered him.
Indeed. All right, guys. We'll check it out. But thanks for being with us.
I always get camera, like, look at this. I can now just go like all the way along here. Socials up the top. Watch and listen down the way. You can't see because you're not looking at my screen. You'll have to watch it back later. You're just looking at me on Skype. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. We really appreciate it. Like, share, and subscribe. We're gonna bring in a lot more this season in terms of Aussies. What have we got? We've still got Paddy to do, Utah to do. So some pretty big episodes coming up before the season starts, and then we're gonna do a little bit of G League stuff. Talk about that. So like, share, and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, and thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Take it easy.
Peace out.
Peace.
See ya.